Okay, as promised, I'm going to show you how I make my protein bars. They are delicious and healthy, full of protein. So you can actually use a lot of different things, but the staple is going to be ground almonds, so almond flour or just ground almonds. I'm going to use some pecans in this. I'm going to chop them up in a minute. You don't have to use these, but they just give it a nice sort of crunchy texture. Chia seeds, again, one of the staple components because there's lots of fiber. I like to use sesame seeds because it gives it a little bit of a nutty flavor. I also use almond flakes in here. You can probably detect the pattern emerging here. I love nutty things. I also like to put coconut in here, also some healthy fats, and gives it a nice little bit of flavor. And not to be confused with those coconut chocolates, because I can't stand coconut chocolates, but it doesn't do that to it, so it's actually really nice. And of course peanut butter as well. Go with 100% peanuts, and I like the crunchy one. You can use the smooth one as well, but as you can see here, all you get is 100% peanut butter. One thing a lot of people don't realize is the oil can float to the top. You sometimes need to stir it and so on, but we'll be putting some of that in as well. And of course, because it's a protein bar, the easiest way to get the protein in there is with a protein powder. This is a high quality protein powder from MyProtein. I'm not affiliated with them, but you can use a code JOE, J-O-E, that is from Joe Frazier. That will give you a discount off there. Tell him I said so, go and drop him a note, he will give you a discount off there. And so most importantly, you're going to need to measure everything accurately, at least when you get going. So electronic scales are the way to go. You are going to need to ground up the chia seeds and the sesame seeds. If you don't have a grinder, you just need to get one or use a coffee grinder. I use my coffee grinder, which is the easiest way of doing it. So let's get going. Now I like to do the annoying bit first, so I weigh up the chia seeds and the sesame seeds and grind those first, separately obviously. Put the bowl on there, press reset, it goes to 0. Now I've experimented and I've gradually increased the amount that I put in here, but it's around about 80 to 90 grams of chia seeds makes up a bowl. So I'm going to go closer to 90 in here because I like the chewiness that the chia seeds give you, and it gives you lots of fiber. So that's that. Now for grinding them up, it's better that you just use a small amount at a time, otherwise it gets stuck and it's difficult to get out. So one bit at a time. You can see this is now a nice lovely powder. I've also experimented by not getting this stuff out of here and just carrying on with the next batch, but then it gets even finer and even more difficult to get out. So learn from my lesson. I just take it out, take the time, take it out. It's annoying. It's the most annoying part of this whole process, but it's worth doing. So take them out, put another couple of scoops of this in there. Batch number 2. Now the final bit. Again, take the time. It's only a few seconds. It's a bit irritating. I'm quite impatient, as you probably gather, but that's that. Now as for the sesame seeds, I'm going to reset the scales again to 0. This will probably be all the bag or half the bag. I'm going to go for about 50 grams in here. You see, this is the awkward part now. The 60 grams there. I'm just going to dump the whole lot in. So this just shows really, oops, going everywhere. This just shows you can just amend the recipe as you go along. I know that it makes it taste nice, so I don't mind. I'm just going to dump the whole lot in there. And that's the grinding done. See, the sesame seeds can really stick on the inside. So if you were to grind, if you were not to clear the powder out in between, you'll really struggle to get it out because it'll be so fine and it will stick. Now initially I used to put the peanut butter in first and then all the other ingredients, but then I found the peanut butter sticks to the bowl. So if I put the powders in first and then the peanut butter, it doesn't tend to stick to the outsides quite so much. Now as for these, I'm going to chop these up into thirds. I'm not going to be precious about measuring them. So some people, they get all upset if we don't have exact measurements. This video is not for them because, frankly, it doesn't really matter. It tastes great no matter what, so I'm just having them in reasonably small chunks like this. Incidentally, you can also use flaxseed. I've tried this in, I think, my second batch I ever made. Again, I ground these up just like the sesame seeds. Out of the two, I prefer the sesame seeds, but you can try with both. Comes to the almond flakes. Again, I'm not really precious about how much. Just a big handful and a half. That's generally how much I put in. Come to the coconut, I am going to measure because I think too much would probably be too strong a flavour. Open a new bag. I'm going to put 50 grams desiccated coconut in here. In it goes. For this particular batch, I'm using a salted caramel protein powder from MyProtein. You can use 2 to 3 spoons, and because I like them to be quite dense with protein, I'm using 3 spoons in here. And finally, we're going to put in the peanut butter, but we need to weigh it, so I'm going to move my whole bowl onto my scales and reset that because that still works. Wait for that to reset. So we're going to put in roughly 250 grams in here, so quite a lot it would seem, but it is worth it. So that's about 260 grams. Again, you don't have to be absolutely precise with this. It will still work. Now, this is entirely optional. I've made them with, I've made them without. They are perfectly fine without if you're on a strict, say, keto diet. But if you're not on a strict keto diet, a little bit of this, I know it is sugar, is just going to give it that little bit of extra flavor. And we're not putting very much in. And again, I'm not going to be too precious about measuring it and so on, but it is just about that much. And it will just give it that slight sweetness to take away any bitterness from those nuts. Now you can do this by hand, but it is infinitely easier when you've got one of these. And funny story, the first time I did this, I was standing there whisking it by hand, thinking to myself, I need to make life easier, and then turned around and realized that I bought this years ago and had hardly ever used it. So here we go. So it's putting it to good use. I use this thicker one. Don't use the thin one, this one, because this takes a long time to clean and you don't really need this to do this mixture. So first of all, we're going to just let this turn into like a biscuity texture before we add a little bit of water in just a minute. So what you'll see happening here is obviously the peanut butter is now sticking to the middle, so I'm just going to encourage that back off again, and it will all mix together, but I'm just going to take that off there. You see it's like a dry, almost like a granola sort of texture. That's what we want. It's going to transform in a minute, but I'm just going to give it another mix first. So whether you do it by hand or with a machine, what you're looking for is so that this is not sticking to the thing anymore or to your whisk anymore, and you get this really sort of crumbly texture with the nuts inside it. Now it's going to transform with roughly half a glass of water. Now we don't want it too wet because that'll make it difficult to put in here and it'll get stuck to your hands or the whisk or whatever. So we're going to get it going again. I'm just going to put in a little bit of water at a time. I'm going to see if I can get this close enough so you can see what happens. So that's maybe a third. So now what you're looking for, you'll see these lumps start to form here, and it starts to be a bit of a sticky texture where you could pat it and it would become flat, but it's not quite sticking together just yet. So it's getting sticky, but it's not actually sticking together. So I'm just going to clean the sides a bit and then put a bit more water in. But now is where you are careful as to how much water you put in. So just a tiny bit more. And I'm waiting for it to all stick together really in one big lump that I can then mold into the dish. So it's all but one lump, but little bits are still coming away. So I'm going to put a tiny bit more water in there. And now that should, when it mixes, it should now form one big lump. So now you can see that is all but one lump, and it's activated the chia seeds and all of the powders, and it's making them stick together. So now I'm going to get some baking paper to line this so that it's easier to flip it and then cut it later on. So now that we've got this in pretty much one big lump, I'm just going to dump it in here. And incidentally, when it's one big lump, it makes the bowl a lot easier to clean up afterwards, because if it's really sticky, then the bowl's difficult to clean as well, but like this, it's much easier to clean. So now we've got it here, I'm going to use this to use the sides to start to flatten it down. Or you can get your gloves out and flatten it that way. Then you can get this perfectly flat, and it will go in the fridge to harden and solidify. And then afterwards, we can cut them up, and we can either cover them in chocolate or have it as it is. I've done both. Again, I usually do half. I will do half covered in chocolate and sprinkle some nuts on, like hazelnuts or whatever, and the other half without. But this will go in the fridge for at least an hour or a couple of hours to harden before you can slice it up. So now it's been an hour, and this should be quite solid enough to slice up. And we're going to show you the chocolate covering and nuts. So we'll flip upside down, and I'm going to slice into fairly thin slices here. And as I say, I'll probably do half with chocolate and leave half without. So I've got some boiling water prepared to melt the chocolate. The chocolate I'm using, there's a balance between really pure dark chocolate and that which actually tastes nice. And the balance that I've found is the green and blacks organic dark chocolate, 70% cocoa, which some people will say should be higher percentage, but this for me is just about the right balance. So it's obviously going to have a certain amount of carbohydrates in here and sugars, but I'm only going to put it on half of them. So, and it is dark chocolate, so there's antioxidants and everything else. So I've already broken this up. So I'm just going to dump this in here. And old-fashioned way of melting chocolate. Now I've prepared some nuts here. So I've got pistachios that I've chopped up, and these came pre-chopped. These are hazelnuts. These are my favorite. So I'm going to do some of each on each one, but I'm just going to wait for the chocolate to melt. Patience is key, a bit of stirring later and the chocolate is pretty much melted. So what I'm going to do is turn the heat down so it doesn't get too hot to burn fingers. I'm going to dip them in, let the excess strip off and place it down, and take some nuts and sprinkle on the top, and they will obviously stick to the chocolate. Once the chocolate has melted, I tend to turn the heat off, partly so it doesn't burn your fingers, but also it seems to get a more even coat. And there we are, a tray of these. These will now go in the fridge to solidify, and obviously the nuts will stick to the chocolate will harden, and then I'll put them in the bowl with the others. And then you can enjoy them throughout the week, or if this house is anything to go by, the next couple of days. So I hope you try them. I'm sure you'll love them. As you can see, it's not too difficult. If I can do this, I am not a baker of any kind, then I'm sure you can do it too. So try them out, let me know what you think, and enjoy.